Hi friends and new friends, and welcome to episode 1 of the Darren Tapp Files. This is going to be an introduction to Darren Tapp, who's an assistant research professor at Arizona State University. He's working with the Blockchain Research Lab, which is sponsored by Dash. And in this Darren Tapp Files series, we're going to be going over who Darren Tapp is. We're going to go over fake news and scams and how to avoid being caught by misinformation out there in the media. And we're going to also be going over security in blockchain, and we're going to be going, and that's in episode 3, security in blockchain. And we're going to be going, episode 4 is going to be accomplishments in Dash since launch, and how much different the Dash blockchain is since the beginning. So I look forward to talking to Mr. Tapp about those things. I hope you come along for the ride. I'm Christopher Carruthers, also known as Tao of Satoshi, and you're watching Cash Alternative TV. So what is Cash Alternative TV? Well, it's a show about cryptocurrency with a focus on Dash, which aims to be a digital cash for the world, an alternative to cash. As such, I named my channel Cash Alternative TV. I do talk a lot about Dash, but I do sometimes have other people from other currencies on and other subjects being talked about. So if you're into that, don't forget to click that subscribe button and hit the bell if you want to be notified in more episodes of Cash Alternative TV. Without further ado, let's get into this interview. Welcome to Cash Alternative TV. I'm Christopher Carruthers, also known as Tao of Satoshi. And with me today, I have a special guest. His name is Darren Tapp. He's an assistant research professor at Arizona State University. And he works in the Blockchain Research Lab, and that's actually funded by Dash. Welcome to the show, Darren.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you.
So but let's start off this show with an introduction of who you are and how you got into cryptocurrency. Like, what's your background?
Yeah, so I'm Darren Tapp. I was born in Kentucky, and I liked math early on. And so when I got a degree for undergrad, I got actually a physics and a math degree. And then after that, I wanted to study math more, so I went to Purdue and earned the PhD in mathematics. And then I moved to New Hampshire in 2009, and did some teaching with math and all that, and but in 2011 I learned about Bitcoin. So that's when I first learned about it, and then since then I've been learning as much about it as I could. I own some of it, and as the price kept going up, I wanted to do more research to see if it's secure enough to justify a higher price. During my research, I started to branch out to other projects, and at the time, Dash seemed to be the only project that was promoting the currency application, where Bitcoin had gone the store value route. So I joined in with Dash to help them out with some of the technical problems they face. Since then, I've been working on my own at Tapp Math. So that's my background, pretty much.
Okay, mathematician. This is probably something that's the most furthest away from my area of expertise. I didn't do so well in math in high school, so I'm definitely probably going to learn something today along with my viewers. So I'm very excited to have you on the show.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
What intrigues you about cryptocurrency? What drew you into cryptocurrency in the first place?
Well, I was already interested in using silver as currency. I was already interested in kind of alternative currencies, specifically currencies that weren't, controlled by a central bank, which is pretty much all of them. And so if you have an ounce of silver, that's something tangible in the world. That's not, the amount of silver is not controlled by a central bank. Someday the scientists might be able to make more of it, but currently it's difficult. It takes a lot of energy. I was always interested in other currencies, and one late night I was doing a Google search about kind of currencies and things like that, and learned about Bitcoin. And then I started looking into it, and I remember I bought a T-shirt and coffee with Bitcoin early on, and people say that it was an expensive T-shirt. I think I paid 7 Bitcoins for one T-shirt. Early on when the prices were quite low, and but I got the T-shirt in the mail, and with that I learned that this is how it works. You give the Bitcoin to somebody and they give you the product, which is exactly how money works. Right? Just, what else do you want this Bitcoin to do if you're going to use it as money? So they say it was an expensive T-shirt, but I think it was worth it. The amount spent was worth it because of the lesson I learned about how this works and how you can be in a peer-to-peer system and everything works. And likewise, the copy came when it was shipped and all that. So you learn that this was something that was trustworthy enough. But when you send it to a business, like if you pay cash to a business, there's no the business might not hold up their end of the bargain. But if you're an online business and you want to stay in that industry and stay in online business, you need to deliver to your customers. So anyway, so I learned how it worked, and I've been learning more and more about it ever since.
Okay, and it's definitely an interesting field to get into as a mathematician, because there's definitely lots going on in this field, and we're definitely going to research into that during this series, right?
Right. I mean, I remember learning that somewhere deep into the Bitcoin protocol, they use the elliptic curve digital signature algorithm. I'm like, hey, wait a minute. I've had a course on elliptic curves. Like I literally had a course that the main topic was elliptic curves. The book we used was called Rational Points on Elliptic Curves. And so it's like, if I'm going to have a much better time learning all this than most people, so I'm not as, I'm already interested in it, so I might as well learn it and learn how secure this is and all that. So I did.
Yeah, well, I think you got a deal as compared to the person that bought the pizza for what was it, 10,000 Bitcoins?
Oh,
It was
yeah.
like a $235 million pizza.
Yeah. So I mean, 7 Bitcoins might be worth a lot today, but I remember I bought them back around $7. So, and the way I look at it, it was a $49 or $50 shirt. But anyway.
Okay, so you probably got into cryptocurrency before I did. I got into it around 2013. So can you tell me what the early cryptocurrency market was like? How did it work at the beginning when it first came out?
Early on, I was there when Mt. Gox was there. There was this thing we called the Web of Trust, and I think it's still there if you look at it for it. I mean, now there's a few things that are called Web of Trust, so you got to be a little careful. But there was this one that used an IRC channel. So you went to the Bitcoin IRC channel, and you could register with like a bot that, and you would register with your PGP key. Now, if you're not aware with computer security, IRC channels tend to be very, very poor secure channels. Like they're not very secure. When people are communicating, you don't know if you're communicating with the right person, all that. But when you signed up with your PGP key, you kind of cut through all of that, and you have kind of a secure way to say, yes, I am who I am. Now, there's a centralized server that did all that, so that's a point of failure, but the centralized server did what it's supposed to. So you would register with your PGP key, and then you would trade with people. Say, I want to buy or sell, and I'm going to pay PayPal, or some people were trading credit on Mt. Gox, like you could have dollar credit on Mt. Gox and give people codes and things. And so people were buying and selling there, and you would get a rating based on how well the trade went. If the trade went, was executed with no problem, nobody got scammed, you get a positive rating, and you could get a negative rating too if it went the wrong way. And so actually that worked pretty well. And so that was interesting early on because it was supposed to be a peer-to-peer currency, and early on people were using it as a peer-to-peer currency, right? Of course, there was Mt. Gox. It was kind of a centralized thing, but you could use it as a peer-to-peer. And now you can too, but I think this Web of Trust, it has like a scaling problem. You kind of need to know enough people in there to know that you can trust the trust rating and things like that. But still, it's still there, so you can try to use it if you want. Good. So that's what the early days was, and there was a culture back then where it was more about just using it as a peer-to-peer currency. People, I think I wasn't alone to derive a lot of joy from that.
Yeah.
And now there seems to be a big contingent of people that are wanting, to make more money, which is fine. I think people should make more money, but they're wanting to do it in ways they don't think about what the value they're providing to actually earn that money is. And it hurts me a bit to see that viewpoint is is so prevalent in the space right now.
Yeah, so you could count that among the things that you don't like about the cryptocurrency landscape now, how it's
Yeah,
changed. Yeah,
yeah,
it's true though, because like when you're with a tight knit group of people, then you can get more of a reputation. But as it becomes to millions and millions of people, like there's no way you can maintain that web of trust, you know. So
right, right,
it's okay to maybe have somebody from that web of trust like do an escrow service or something like that.
right,
Then you know that this whoever's dealing with you is going to either send the money back or consummate the trade.
hmm
So yeah, but other than that, yeah, you don't know who you're dealing with.
right.
And there's a lot of scams out there. There's well, MintPal went under, Cryptsy went under.
hmm
I don't know if these people were people from the Web of Trust, but if they were,
Yeah, Mt. Gox,
certainly went down in
Tex was right there in the Web of Trust.
yeah. Well, he was. I don't know if I think he was just incompetent, right? I don't know, but anyway.
Well, yeah, I don't think he was scamming either, but I mean, he may have not held 100% reserve, which if he did that, then he went down that road.
Absolutely.
But,
so if you're just tuning into it right now, we have Darren Tapp, Assistant Research Professor at Arizona State University. And we're having a series called the Darren Tapp Files. And this is the introduction series. But there's going to be 3 more episodes after this. We're going to be talking with Darren about different subjects. So what can the viewers expect to see in the future series episodes of the Darren Tapp Files?
well, we're going to talk about how to interpret information in the media. So basically we talked about how there's a lot of scams. So we want to talk about how you can go through information and kind of see if they're trying to basically pull the wool over your eyes, or if they're actually being honest and or just upfront and forthright. We're going to talk about the research that I've done and kind of how that's been interpreted in popular media, and what I would consider to be a fair interpretation of that research. And we're also going to talk about computer security, some of the mathematics that I've done to determine if certain setups are secure or not. Like recently, I just put a pull request in the DIP-8 where we were investigating the security of chain locks. And so I was able to get a probability that the hacker was successful, and it was quite a low probability. And we'll talk about how to interpret, how low a probability is low enough. So it'll be kind of an introduction to computer security, introduction to kind of some of the math that we do. And then fourth, we'll do a deep dive into how Dash works, and we'll talk about the kind of the nuts and bolts of how it works now, because it works significantly different than it did, when I first signed up with the Dash project. I don't know, 2017 maybe. So just recently, right now, live on the network, there's more or less a completely different setup than what it was in 2017. So we want to go talk about those changes, about how, even though it has the same name, we're talking about a kind of a different beast here, with different. There's the extra features offered, and then we expect more features in the future on the live net. And I also want to talk about how some of the problems with the old way of doing the old way that the Dash client works up, and how those were kind of how they were tightened up, and the current implementation is more or less watertight. Yeah, so.
Okay, perfect. So that's a lot of content for the viewers to watch. It's a lot of people are going to learn something. I'm sure I'm going to learn something too. So I'm excited to have that happen. So don't forget to tune in. Those videos will be released sequentially. So hopefully you tune in and learn something from Mr. Darren Tapp.
All right, thank you.
And that's all for today. Happy to have you on the show.
Thank you.
Yeah, take it easy.
All right, great.
Bye for now. Well, that was it for this first episode of the Darren Tapp Files. Tune in to episodes 2, 3, and 4 when we talk about all kinds of other crypto topics. That's it for me today. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and click the bell if you want to see more from me and Cash Alternative TV episodes. Until next time, remember, Dash is a better money for a better future, and that future is getting closer every day. Bye for now.
alternative.